Hi, I'm Ria Ivanic, and I'm a lecturer in political economy at the University of Oxford and a postdoctoral researcher at the London School of Economics.
Hello, I'm Professor Tom Kirchmeier. I'm the director of the Policing and Crime Research Group at the Centre for Economic Performance of the London School of Economics.
Currently in the UK, at least at the end of October, cases are rising, COVID-19 cases are rising again. Social distancing is still part of our everyday lives, and that has significant effects on the nature of domestic abuse. We are crime economists working with large data sets, and at the start of the lockdown, we started asking ourselves what happened to domestic abuse during lockdown. To answer this question, we used large quantitative data sets from different police forces to get insights into how the nature of domestic abuse has changed during lockdown, whether types of callers, so whether the relationship between victims being able to report has changed, and finally we looked into how we could increase reporting during lockdown.
One problem we're trying to solve empirically is to determine where should police officers go, when they get a call about domestic abuse. And they get hundreds of thousands of these calls, and it's very hard to determine which ones are serious and which ones are not. Now, with austerity, police officers can't go to all of these jobs anymore. In fact, they probably only go to about a quarter. Our research shows that we can actually dramatically help to determine which jobs to go to and which ones are not, in the respect that which jobs lead to some form of violence and which ones are just, serious arguments, but are not leading to violence. What's interesting is, the police always used something called the DASH report. The DASH report we find in itself is actually not very valuable. What we need is actually to have the history of the victim, the history of the perpetrator, and the history of both of them together. And with a bit of DASH involved, we get to a much better result. And the expectation is, and we're about to test this, the expectation is that it really helps to reduce violence and harm of victims. So what you've seen is that there's a lot of power in data, and the problem with data is it is actually quite complicated. We all agree 2 + 2 is 4, and when it gets more complicated, 2 + 2 is also 4, but it's much harder to determine.
Well, our job is to do kind of the very lengthy academic statistical analysis and really working in depth with the data. Your job is just to listen to us and give a platform to share our very brief and to the point findings.
Now, here in our case with domestic abuse, what it means is once we're allowed to put our algorithms into the call centers and test it properly, because we never just apply it straight away, we allow it to be tested, we're pretty sure we can ascertain that our model is much better, leading to much less harm. So what you have to do is allow people to use the data, allow a bit of competition, and to be tested properly.
If we act now, we can kind of stop potential long-term consequences on family, on children outcomes by preventing domestic abuse now.